Hi, I'm Karen from Edible Eden Design, and here we're looking at the amazing amount of produce from this fantastic loquat tree. Probably about 10 kilos. The loquat tree, Eriobotrya japonica is its botanical name, and you might be able to guess from that it's a native of Japan. Very, very popular throughout the northern suburbs of Melbourne particularly, and quite an easy plant to grow. This is actually a grafted variety called Bessell Brown, although many that you see throughout Melbourne are just seedlings. But I particularly wanted a larger fruited variety for better eating and preserving, and so I opted for a grafted one. It does appear to be biennial, so that's about the only thing I'd say about this one, as opposed to seedlings which seem to fruit every year, but just probably much smaller fruit. So when you open Loquats up, there was already one seed that flew out, and you have a bit of this pith here that you can peel off or scoop out. And I'm planning to dehydrate these, take out that little bit at the end with a knife or with fingers. I'm going to do some with the skin. The skin is pretty thick, but I think that'll be all right. Otherwise, it just adds an extra layer of complexity for dehydrating. So the seeds I'm going to wash and keep for making Nespolino, but you can see that's a reasonable, nice size halved fruit for dehydrating. So I'm going to try some of those this year. I've tried bottling them in the past, stewing them and bottling them, and they didn't have a huge amount of flavour. I was a little bit disappointed. So I'm going to try dehydrating, which tends to concentrate flavours. So I thought that would be better. And as I said, making the Nespolino. They're also just fantastic to eat fresh. Very tasty. There's about 10 kilos of fruit here. It's very heavy. I picked these earlier today ready for the dehydrating, and you can see that this tree is still quite laden. And it's quite a small tree, and you also see from the way I've cut these off, I use this as part of its pruning. I just cut the entire fruiting area off, and that's a way of keeping the tree smaller and not having to sort of double up tasks. Loquats, this, as I said earlier, this is a grafted one. Loquats are not always such a loved tree, but they are really quite wonderful as the earliest fruiting plant or earliest stone fruit, even before cherries, which are quite early. Cherries are coming on now too, but loquats all over the suburbs of Melbourne are fruiting at the moment. So Bessell Brown is not necessarily one of the earliest loquats, but it has this very large fruit to stone ratio, which makes it a lot better for eating and using. So as I said, this is a grafted one. It is really worth waiting to get the grafted variety that you want, whether you want an even earlier variety, and you can look up what's available at your local nursery because it does vary from year to year, and also whether you want large fruit or whether you don't care. But it is a really good fruit to put on a nature strip garden as well, because it's quite prolific and therefore it gives you a lot of fruit to share with the local community. So as I said, I've just grabbed some because I wanted to dehydrate some and try that out, and you know, the birds are getting some already, the parrots, or the lorikeets, and the neighbours are having a few as well, so that's fine, and that's a nice thing. They make great street trees, and there's quite a few of them in the area planted on people's nature strips. What else can I say about it? It's an evergreen too. It has quite a lush look. You can grow them from seed really easily, and so you can grow a plant quite easily for yourself. And there's a couple of seedling ones in there from seeds that have dropped that I was going to dig up and give to friends. But if you want specific varieties, you do need grafted, and it is worth getting them. But they are just a great feed everybody forage kind of fruit tree. So they're a good survival plant because they need very little care to fruit well. What else about them? They can get quite big, and they're evergreens. If you're planting them in your garden, be aware that they're going to give shade all year round. So that's an important point. And other than that, they can get quite a lot bigger than this, but I'm going to just keep on trying to keep it small. And I wanted a loquat tree for that early fruiting, so that's what it is. Great nature strip tree.